All right. What is up, everybody? We are back with another episode of the Fighting Pit podcast. This is episode number 26, cruising along here, and we are on Twitch today, so we're doing it live again. It's fun to do these live every once and a while. We got the chat here on screen. Chat can say hi. But yeah, I'm joined, as always, by my two co-hosts, Mullahoo and WizardBeast. How you guys doing today?
Doing good.
As always.
Awesome. So we got some fun stuff to talk about, kind of general topics for this week. Gonna talk some meta stuff. We're gonna talk some release, when to expect new merc stuff. We actually have a neat little Twitter post, which we're going to start with here. We're also going to be taking some questions from the chat, and then I think kind of towards the end, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to actually play some games on stream in a little bit different fashion. We'll explain that more as we get to that part. So if you're listening audio only, this is some incentive to check out the YouTube version, as I do not anticipate that is going to transfer as well to audio only. But we will have some commentary, so who knows?
Yeah,
it's possible.
I don't know. I think it can be done.
We'll find out.
Okay.
We'll find out. It should be a fun time, though. So I do want to just get some housekeeping stuff out of the way at first. Remember, if you enjoy this type of content, liking, following, all that jazz really helps out a ton. The algorithm and all that stuff, and we do greatly appreciate it. Also, a little announcement, there will not be an episode next week as I'm going away on vacation, and it's probably going to be a pretty low information week anyway, so really won't miss out on too much, but did just want to give you the heads up. So next week's episode is going to be a break week, and then we'll be back with the following week, and by that time, we should hopefully have a new patch and new stuff to talk about. And if, in case anyone has not heard, it has basically been confirmed. We're getting some buffs in the next patch, 24.0, as well as some buffs in the following patch, 24.2, that weren't able to make it into the 0.01 quite in time. I do anticipate the 0.0 is going to be the bigger of the two. And if we remember back to the 23.0 launch, that was like that was when Trigor got his claws, right? Or his heads. And but there were also a lot of other changes in that. Some of them were more subtle and didn't have like a huge impact on PvP, but there were still a lot of changes overall. So I'm hoping we see more stuff like that in the future, or in the near future, because as we know, there are a lot of launch mercenaries that could really do with some buffs to kind of give them a little bit more love. We were talking about before we started recording, there are 98 mercenaries now, and for how many we have, it doesn't really feel like we have 98 mercenaries, because even in PvE and PvP, like half of those, or at least like a third, right, just do not see play, like, at all. Like, we have a little tier list we're going to be referencing later on that I put together for YouTube stuff. I think it has them all except Yogg. I did it before Yogg came out, but in case anyone's wondering where Yogg falls on that, I think Yogg is like probably pretty solid A tier. He's kind of made the old gods comp viable, and I think that is a pretty cool comp and definitely has some pretty good game against a fair amount of stuff in the meta. It's definitely something that can be countered, kind of like, I view it kind of like the golden monkey comp, where you're doing something insanely powerful, but it's rather linear. So if your opponent knows what you're doing, if they have the tools to stop it, they can stop it. But if they don't, you just run away with their game, and nothing else. It's cool having triple old gods with their diamond portraits and whatnot. Maybe we'll get a fourth in there with the next one in the next event, Cthulhu. But really fun. So yeah. But yeah, we wanted to start off talking about this Twitter post from one of the devs, kind of a little bit of a cryptic post here. So I'm gonna get that up on screen for us here. I'll post it in the chat too. So if people want to take a look at it themselves, they can do so.
3 hours ago.
Yeah, so very recent.
Breaking news.
Breaking
news of a news of a news.
Yeah. So very timely for us, but I'll read it out here. So this is from Celestian. Just wanted to place a marker here at this timestamp, as the first time I saw some very early work on a future thing that is going to make a certain group of people very, very bolden, very happy. So obviously that really doesn't say very much, but what it is saying is, I think this is hinting at something towards a very specific part of the player base, and with the wording certain group, it's going to be
I'll be a minority.
Yeah, right. It's
One
not
of us
going to be.
minorities.
It's
Yep.
not going to be for standard, right? Like, otherwise it would not be worded this way. So I figured this would be kind of fun to talk about, do a little speculation on it here. But yeah, what do you guys think? What are some possibilities we could have from this unknown feature?
I'm thinking, I mean, kind of what I was saying earlier. It would be cool if they did show something else, maybe like another mini mode or something. It'd be
Mm.
cool to see a casual mode, I think,
Mhm.
instead of just hard rated PvP. So I think something like that would be really cool. Just like mess around with a bunch of comps and like actually try out things before going in case you don't want to, worry about your rating too much. It's not as big of a deal right now because of the PvP system of how it's currently set up. But, say they eventually get that fixed and you want to try out other comps, you don't want to tank your rating a bunch. So it'd be cool to maybe see like a casual mode or some other like neat little thing kind of just added in.
Yeah, or like we've kind of campaigned for a little bit, a casual mode where you can rent a comp, or you have auto scaling or something for the mercs. You have just something to. And I was talking about this with some other creators and whatnot on Discord relatively recently. And the biggest, by far, and it's not even close, the biggest thing that stops at least other content creators and whatnot that I know of from playing Mercenaries is the barrier to entry, that is the PvE. And the big reason for that is because they just don't find PvE fun. Like, if PvE was fun, then I think the game would be so much better. And, it is fun for some people, right? Like, some people do enjoy the PvE, and I've even grown more fond of it than I used to be. I think there's something to be said for the mindless kind of nature of it, like just watching your dudes go and blow some stuff up. But one thing I thought was really interesting, and I wanted to talk about it a little bit, and I guess this can be a little bit of a self plug too at the same time, was, and you guys have probably heard this same thing before, what is the game that people compare Mercenaries to? And the biggest one I've heard is a little game called Raid Shadow Legends. So I recently got a little sponsored deal with them thing. So I have that going. I'll put the little thing in the chat. If you want to help out with that, click the link, download the tutorial. It takes like 5 or 10 minutes or whatever, and super supports me. But the reason I wanted to bring this up is because, like, I've seen so many people like draw the comparison. So I actually played the game. I've never played the game before. And so I wanted to see, hey, like, why are people drawing comparisons to this game? Right? Yeah. Like, there's got to be some reason to it. And it was kind of interesting to see. I played like about 2 hours of it or so. And I see the small things where they draw comparisons. The main things are the PvE aspect of it. All your characters have 3 main skills, so it's kind of like Mercenaries in that respect. You kind of throw a team together, and then you go do some PvE content. And that part was very similar to Mercenaries in some way. You have like regular fights, and then you kill the regular fights, and then sometimes at the end there'll be a big boss guy. And so the other thing that seems similar to me was they have like a hub that's kind of like the campfire, except way more cluttered and riddled with mobile garbage. But it's very similar in like concept and what it does. And now they do have a PvP mode and stuff. I didn't really dive too much into that. It's kind of like the way I saw it is it's kind of like if you're a new player and you go do some mercs PvP, like, yeah, you can do it, but it's not really giving you an idea of what real PvP is like, like if you're going in with level 10s or something, right? Like, it's just a totally different game, and you're going to be facing bots, and I'm pretty sure I was facing bots too. So I can't really speak much on that if there's a lot of depth there or whatever, but I did see the little reasons why people kind of drew some comparisons there. There were obviously also a lot of differences, but one thing that I took away from it that I think would help mercs endlessly is Raid has a little button in the bottom left where there are 3 buttons or whatever, but 2 of them are the important ones. One, there's an auto button. So you press auto, and I watch my guys just go and I mess stuff and they just destroy things. Like I had an archer lady and I was just calling her Sylvanas, and I just pressed auto and I just watched the characters destroy these very simple, easy PvE fights. And then the other thing that was really great right next to that auto button was a ×2 speed button. So it makes it even faster because you're not thinking about this, you're just kind of watching it. I would love if they added something like that into Mercenaries. It was like that was something where, imagine if, like, a lot of the times when we're doing normal grinding or something, we're on autopilot. We're not paying attention to these fights. We're not saying, oh, what's the exact best move here? Because you don't really need to do that if you have a good comp. And a lot of the, especially normal fights, you don't have to plan out like that. Like you can beat them with a lot of things, even suboptimal comps. So I think it'd be great if we could get some kind of auto button, even if we didn't get like a speed up, just like some kind of auto button to where, because if we think about it, right, the AI already exists in place for this because it's there for PvE. Like they have a whole AI system for, hey, target the thing you're weak to or whatever. Is it going to always make the best play? No, of course not. That's why the player can choose. But this would be like, I think, a huge step in the right direction for making the game a bit more accessible, because PvE can be done in a time when like you can't do regular Hearthstone, right? Like I've seen a bunch of people talk about that, how they'll do Mercenaries PvE while they're at work or something, because they can just put it down and you don't have to worry about your turn running out. You're not playing versus another player. So you're on your own time, you can put it down, you can pick it back up whenever. And so if you could just have it like going on auto in like a little window while you're doing something else, while you're working, while you're watching some TV or a stream or something, I think that'd be a huge boon to kind of increase the amount of people who can get into the mode. And then from there, then they can kind of like, you can take on heroics where maybe the auto is not going to do as good a job for you, or just it helps them advance their collection so they can try out PvP more. So I'm curious if you guys have any thoughts on like the idea of an auto mode, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, I think auto would be great, especially for the, earlier stuff. I wouldn't want it so advanced where I wouldn't even need to try anymore. Like I would just always use auto where it like always picks the best move. I would just want it to be like, okay, if I'm running 1-1, it knows I'm gonna win no matter what it does, so it's just gonna go through that real quick. So basically, like the lower level things, I think that would be perfect to have it. But say like any of the more recent ones, like it would still work, of course, but just wouldn't basically be the best solution to like winning and getting to the end goal. But say like, you're doing 1-1 instead of having to click a button and like constantly, like look down, just, oh, I'm gonna hit this and turn, and then look up and do something for like 10 seconds, 15 seconds to look down again. Imagine only doing that like every like 4 minutes or so, You're just like, oh, it went all the way to the end. Okay, grab my rewards, hit it again, and go. And then it just keeps going through. So I think something like that, would be nice, at least just for that. And especially then, I don't even think the grind necessary would matter that much on 1-1 anymore if you just have to, hit that every once in a while to basically do like a couple more buttons basically an hour instead of having to do like, say, I don't know how many clicks that you have to do on your computer or phone. Probably every run, so I would guess like maybe 20 clicks or something.
Yeah, I
So that's
mean, I did yesterday I did a farming stream because Yogg was my last character to get full max, and
mhm.
streamed for about 2 hours. I needed to get Yogg's last item from no levels to 4 levels, and in the 2 hours I put in, I think I got it from level 0 or level 1 to level 3. And so we did some timing stuff. We actually found out, this is a little tip for anyone who's doing some solo 1-1 farming, it is faster to throw down your mercenary than click the button if you only have one character. I think if you have 2 or 3, it might be faster to click the button and just have them go into the deck and whatnot. But even with that little animation Yogg does, it was faster by like, I think pressing the button was like 7.3 seconds, and throwing it down was like a whole second shorter, which isn't a lot. But if you're doing 30 runs or something, that's 30 seconds, and that's what, like 10% of a 1-1 run. It adds up. You're going to be doing a lot of these runs. So if anyone wants to to optimize their 1-1 farming. There's a little bit of a tidbit for you.
Is it
yeah.
1 second faster on the whole run, or is it 1 second faster per fight?
1 second faster per fight.
Per fight. Oh, okay. So basically, 3 seconds every fight.
Yeah, 3 seconds every run. So every 10 runs, it's 30 seconds, which is 10% of a normal 1-1 run. Even Yogg on his own was a little bit over 3 minutes or so to get through, which is pretty good. It's like pretty optimal timing. Some characters, it's obviously going to be harder. Like, God help you if you're trying to get through with Cho. Cho is a little bit slower, and he's a little bit more frail. You have to kind of rely on his summons, and it takes a little bit longer, but I think it's definitely doable. But I really only recommend doing 1-1 at this point if you don't need coins from one of the normal bounties. If there's any normal bounty, especially the more recent ones in like Sunken City, you need 2 out of 3 of those coins. Just do that. It's going to be better for you most of the time. That's what I did. It's more enjoyable too, I personally think. But yeah, that's kind of what I recommend for that. But I was down to my last mercenary, or there are a few mercenaries like Urel and Tyrael that just don't really have good places to farm very well. They're on like 1 bounty each, and Tyrael's like the cow, and there's another legendary there too. So it's like even if you did heroic for him, you have a chance of getting Uther coins. And even though he was buffed, Uther's still not the greatest. He has a place now in that monkey comp, and I'm kind of hoping we get more buffs for Uther in the next patch.
They probably will.
I think so
they buffed
too.
like the lamest of Uther's abilities when they buffed this last one. Like honestly, yeah, it seems like they wanted to do another one, but like weren't sure if it was too far or something, and they still just buffed like the ability that truly just doesn't matter at all. But I think you could make Uther sick. Like you could just change, given the Grom treatment on the Hammer of Justice, whatever it is, and then all of a sudden it's playable. Also, by the way, how I was playing Diablo Resurrected with my brother a couple days ago. How annoying, like how insane is it that they didn't, unless we just haven't discovered the like super secret tech, how was the secret cow level not something bigger than what it was for this game? Like it is like the most defining like try hard grinder spot with like good value. It's way more dense than anything else in the game, and it's like an established part of Blizzard lore, and they did like the most tame thing possible, even to the point of like not even calling it like it has a weird name. It's like not even named the same thing. It's called
Secret
like
Cow or something.
Secret Cow or something like that. Like that, I was just like re-triggered by that playing regular Diablo and like grinding through the cow level with my brother and just being like, it's such a bump. Like that's one of the weirdest like recent bummers of like really. I've loved so many of their other design decisions for these last 6 months basically. But God, that feels like a ball drop for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it was cool that they at least added it in. Like, I was not expecting that at all. So it was like cool to see that in the game, and especially another Diablo thing in the Hearthstone universe. But yeah, I thought it was gonna be. I mean, if you whoever watched my stream that day when it first everything dropped, all of those like other weird achievements of like summon the 100 Murlocs and use the like I forget what ability, but it was the one treasure where it was like the 1 speed treasure and it would do like a random ability.
Do something fun or whatever.
Yeah, and also there was the portal thing too, where you had to like kill the portal without killing the other guy, so you had to kill it first. So I did all of those achievements thinking, because the secret cow level was unlocked. So I was thinking, Prideful Wish, that's what it was. Thank you. So I did that because in Diablo they have that also secret portal that leads to the cow level, and also the secret portal that leads to like the fairy stuff land thing in Diablo 3. So I thought, those achievements might be attached to the secret cow level. So I did all of those, completed all, thinking I'm gonna unlock it, and then nope, nothing happened. And they just like unlocked it a couple days later.
Yeah, it was like a day later. It was time gated. That I agree. That's like
bizarre.
If it's a secret cow level, you should have to do something kind of cool or kind of secret to unlock the secret cow level. Like, and a lot of people thought that's what it was because it was locked for a day. So they're like, oh, we have to do some like super, and that think how fun that would have been.
I was hoping,
like give something for the PvE people to do like this fun unlock puzzle. Like, I mean, we know the technology is there for like those crazy puzzles they do for some of those card backs. Just like throw some weird stuff in there. Like, oh, you have to go to this one specific mercs bounty, and then you have to beat this boss with a specific ability or something like that, and then it like slowly unlocks it or something, and then
this game is really well set up to do something like that. Like
it
for sure.
was,
Like,
and we just didn't.
And it
We
still could
get
be.
that, but like I think I think part of the reason for that was they wanted it to be accessible because they wanted people who are new to just be able to do it. Like people, because it launched with Diablo Immortal. And so they were trying to get people who tried Diablo Immortal to like hop in and try this. But there's a simple solution to that. Make the normal version of the cow level easily accessible. And then make the heroic one, either you have to do something special to unlock it, or it's incredibly hard, but you get some really fat rewards or something. Like, I wish I had a reason to go and farm the cow level. And I even tried doing it a little bit when I was going for material coins, and it just wasn't worth it. The heroic one's actually fairly hard if you don't have the right comp. Like, the cows kill you pretty quick because they keep spamming lightning bolt whenever he gets hit, so it gets out of control pretty quickly.
Also, there is a Cow King reference at least in that, like in the lightning.
Oh, really?
It's cute. Yeah, the Cow King is always like lightning enchanted. Like he always has that affix regardless of like the difficulty that you go in. But then the other cows can sometimes have different things, but he's always lightning.
Yeah, and it's so weird they picked Uther because, like, I get they're going for a holy thing, but you could have put in literally any other holy character that wasn't a legendary, because then that would have at least given me some reason to farm it for the Tyrael coins. But like Mike just said there in chat, you have basically even odds of it going Tyrael or going Uther. And let me tell you, one of those feels a lot worse than the other when you just want to try out this new cool character. So that was really, that's another great suggestion.
Would have been amazing.
It would have been great to have Yrel, because then we would have had 2 out of 3 new characters, and then it would have made the bounty much more worth doing. I really don't understand why they didn't go with Yrel for that one. I think that was a pretty big missed opportunity, because Yrel, much like Tyrael, is just really hard to get coins for her outside of one specific bounty. And I've been messing around with the holy comp a little bit, trying some stuff out with it. It's actually not as bad as I thought. Like, maybe because I was leaning a little bit on like the big support with like Elise and Tyrion and whatnot, but it actually felt pretty good. The anti-shadow or the shadow resist equipment on Yrel is actually pretty bonkers at shutting down the shadow stuff. Like, I've beat shadow quite a few times with it. It's felt really good. But one other change, and this is something I actually wrote about on Twitter a bit, and actually got a response from Charles, one of the developers. And I was talking about how, you guys will probably remember a little while ago, we got Tyrion. They made his attack a holy spell school. And like there are a few others, like Yasharaj has shadow, even though it's an attack. So I wrote about how, hey, it would be really nice if characters like Cornelius and what's her name? Cariel. Yeah, Cariel. Cornelius and Cariel could get holy spell schools on their stuff, because there have been times, especially with like Cornelius, where it's like I would like to be able to attack with him and have it trigger a holy combo. It's kind of fringe, but Cornelius, a great example. He's 8 speed, and Yrel's big AoE fancy thing is also 8 speed. But she hits your own stuff if one of your things didn't do a holy move. So if you make a big Cornelius and you want to swing with him, you can't like combo it with your other ability. And it really wouldn't like break anything balance-wise. It would just like make the Holy Tribe a little bit more supported. And there's good precedent for it there. So we did see a little bit of a response about that, saying, yeah, that seems pretty reasonable and something they could probably do in the future, which is good. I think it's good too, because some of these tribes, just very few tribes have that critical mass of support like Frost and Shadow do right now. I really can't even,
all being good.
Yeah, like I can't think of one off the top of my head that is like anywhere in the same ballpark. Like most of the other ones just have good. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's true. That's true. Dragons do, but they don't really synergize with each other super duper well, though. There are a few, like Nefarian's extra attack.
Like equipment based.
Yeah, they're more equipment based for sure. Whereas their regular abilities don't. interact or synergize with each other super well, but the equipments do. But those are like the main 3 tribes, and a lot of the other tribes, they have stuff. Like I was looking over the Murlocs and the demons, and it's like they have stuff, but the characters are so low impact on their own, the synergies aren't enough to make them playable. Like you need either the characters to be stronger on their own or have the synergies be so strong that it justifies playing what is normally a weaker character. So that's something I would really like to see, and that's something I hope we see in buffs in the near future. Justice for Murlocs, justice for demons. I think 2 of the most forgotten and most memed about tribes that people would really like to play. There's some really cool and iconic characters. Like, I would love to make people explode with some Fists of Jaraxxus. Like, that would be great. But it's
that
just
is too cool.
Not in the cards right now, because not only are they weak individually, their synergy doesn't make them really any better, which is sad.
Yeah.
And if we see more support in the future, I think you'd have to print something so insanely powerful to make these characters like playable. And I don't think that's like the best way to do it. Like it would just have to be so crazy over the top. I'd rather than print good support and then just buff the bad ones than create something that's so insane that it just naturally propels the other ones just for existing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, because then you get into too much of like protect the king kind of
exactly
gameplay in some cases too, where like, okay, there's only one dude that I have to actually focus down because this is the holy merc that was printed in 2022, so that's the one I get to focus on, and where you could just leave all the others alone. But I mean, that's the power creep thing that we've been talking about for a while, where it's like all the old mercs are just like, even if you make it like we're just gonna make everybody nuts, like then what happens? And maybe it'll be fine. Maybe we just have enough Pokemon at a certain point where like everyone being cracked is fine. But I think you're totally right that we'll probably see another wave of buffs that just like increase the damage numbers. I think is realistically the only saving grace for some of the things like Holy and Murlocs, where it's like if you just add 3 to 5 damage on like a lot of their abilities, maybe now there's enough of an incentive to play them, but they're all still so slow and you can't make the abilities faster really. So it's
You could. A lot of them are so slow, and like one of the things I really liked the idea of, and we saw them toy with it a little bit with some of these new mercs, not a whole ton, but a little bit, is if you want, so like demons are slow, right? Like traditionally the demons are very much slower than a lot of the other characters. But the problem in mercenaries with being slow is there's no real payoff for that. You like in theory you have to make the ability really, really powerful to pay off for being slow, and these abilities probably would still be bad if they were fast. So it's like right there, it's like a swing and a miss. But the big thing that they could change is instead of just speeding them up, which you can do that, but I think you'd also have to buff the damage on top of that. Instead, give us a reason to care about being slow, like Trick Room, like something like that, where it's like you can have a good reason for being slow or a good payoff for being slow. And I think a great example of that is kind of Yu'lon's first ability, where it's 10 speed. You're always going last with that. But there's a benefit to going last, because since you're going last, if you use it on someone who attacks, you're doubling your damage. That's an interesting design that kind of incentivizes you. They could do stuff or kill your mercenary before, but if your merc lives, you're going to deal crazy damage. You're going to snipe a green that attacked for 80 damage, and that's basically just one-hitting a lot of the characters. So I think we need to see more stuff like that.
Yeah, it's kind of same like a Char at 10 speed, because she gets plus damage for all the different spell schools. So yeah, that's kind of like another take on it. And yeah, I think it would be cool to see more things like if it is going to be that slow, then it needs to have a bigger impact, I think.
Definitely.
Instead of just having like Gul'dan literally 10 speed, 20 damage. It's like, hey, I'm going to hit a little bit harder versus say like just Cookie 2 speed, deal 10, So instead of just that damage, like you said, it's already maybe 20 and then it adds on something else. So just like something that's maybe like a bonus basically for going last, instead of just pure this is the flat amount of damage. It would always be cool to have like another trigger or something else that does benefit off of that. So I don't know, maybe like in a way it could be like setting up for the next turn. Say like, oh, it's a 10 speed thing, deal damage, but then if it went last out of all characters, then slow all enemy characters by like 3 or something. I don't know, just something like that. So then like sets up for the next turn. If hey, I'm running a slow team, well, I know I can survive my first turn, but then I can set up for the second turn. Something, that can kind of like benefit each other and like make it so you don't go into turn 2 and it's like, oh, I went slow turn 1, all my guys are almost dead. Oh, turn 2, well, they'll die before they even acted.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And that's a great example in chat. The Sylvanas ability with Reclaim Souls is kind of something like that. Like, you're doing nothing for a turn, but you're having a very big impact, and that impact gets even like doubled because of her death rattle, which is like insane. Now that we have a bunch of support with like these characters that can make summons, so you have a lot more stuff dying, so it actually gets bigger. So we have some examples, like Ashara is also another great example with her skill 3, where it actively goes from being fast to slowing down more if other things go before it, but then you get more damage because of it. Like, those are the kind of designs I want to see for giving mercenaries a reason to be slower, because it's just there's such a huge advantage for going fast. And going fast naturally puts you in a position where you can kill your opponent's merc before they get to act. And then that's just the most punishing thing you can do in the game, essentially. So I want to see more stuff like that. I think one character that was kind of like an attempt at this is one who hasn't seen a ton of play, but I think is cool design. I think it's Athissa, the one who does some freezy stuff, but she can slow all the shadow stuff down. And that's some cool synergy with Ashara, right? Because even though Ashara only has that one skill with the AoE and the caring about slowing down, it's shadow, so you can slow her down naturally, and then she'll get even slower from other skills going off before her, and then it gets even crazier and stuff. I just want to see more things like that, so it's not just about Zajara, not Athissa. That's correct.
No, I think the equipment, I mean, as Blackwater said, their second point too, is I think what we're kind of bouncing around too is the fact that like there's actually a ton of lines of text that we are wanting to add to some of these abilities to make them playable. Like so many, like the Yulon thing, for example, right? Like that's not a line of text. Imagine if it got printed where it was just like Gul'dan style 10 mana deal 20 or 10 speed deal 20.
Yeah.
You're never going to add the like, oh, well, if they attacked, then it's going to do extra. Like that's going to be part of the design of the merc itself. So those lines of text, I think, are a little bit too complicated to add. But what's a problem that a lot of the old school original mercs have that we keep referencing with some of these new characters that actually give you a delayed payoff, which is equipment. So many of the early mercs have terrible equipment. And it's really easy to go back, I think, and bring those into 2022. Like imagine just like literally looking at who was I just looking at? Prophet Velen, even? No, but there's it was Cornelius. Like Cornelius's equipment are literally this ability heals 4 more. This ability heals 8 more. You take 3 less. Like just absolute like one-liners per equipment, and there's basically one that's a way better for the most part. And a lot of the early mercs have these like kind of janky old school equipment that I feel like you could very easily just delete 1 or 2 of them and put in a really strong 2022 equipment that does something like if this merc hasn't acted yet, each time your opponent casts an ability, randomly apply a divine shield to somebody on your team, like something like that, right? Where it is now you get to punish people for being slow. And again, it's part of the equipment. So you could even make the argument that it's one spec or another. So it's not every time, it's not for every meta. But I think attacking through the angle of equipment on the old mercs might be one of the best ways to not have to break rules with flavor or break kind of power level requirements of suddenly your taunt is 0 speed, or suddenly somebody like Anduin is acting 3 speed faster. We don't have to print all holy spells are 4 speed faster all the time type of effect. And I think going through the equipment might be that might be the move.
Yeah, and then the cool thing about equipment too is how you're saying is you can change it throughout the meta. So then if you have different things, it's like, oh, if all of the equipments are like equal level but different comps, are you're against them, you can kind of switch them in and out for whatever you need. So I think it is cool to have that. And seeing characters that do have multiple equipments that you can kind of swap around it's always cool to try different ones. Like with Belinda,
Mhm.
I like sometimes using her. Like
Mhm.
Frost, you might always use Frost Elemental, but whenever I'm playing my Fire comp, it is really nice to have that Fire Elemental because then you have
Yeah.
the Fire weakness. And when you have a full Fire comp, that +3 basically from the other Elemental, or even if you hit it sometimes twice, +6, then really stacks up. So it's cool to see how there's different basically equipments for everything because it feels like a lot of characters, there's just one that is just A tier
Mhm.
equipment. You're always going to take that. Like they even said with the Deathwing one a while ago, they wish, I forget, it's like the claw equipment or whatever, where he does his AoE fire damage. It would like that. They wish that was just attached to the ability now and actually have a different equipment so then the equipments would equal out. But that's just
Mhm.
so much stronger that you
Yeah.
basically don't really have a choice on taking equipment because if
Mhm.
you take any of the other ones, it's just not going to have the same effect.
Yeah, it's just much less impactful, and I think, like Mullahoo said, a lot of the launch mercs suffer from this way more than others. It does still come up with new mercs sometimes, but I think generally they've gotten better at making at least like 2 viable equipments. And the thing that I really like about equipments is kind of the idea, kind of like in Pokemon, where your item can really support a whole different build. So let's say, I think Reno is a great example of this because I've seen, unfortunately, they did bug fix Reno, so he doesn't count himself as an explorer for coming in with the battle cry. Because I actually really did like using that in
I
a,
love
a
that one.
fringe build or two. Maybe it'll get better over time as we get like Finley and stuff. But yeah, so normally you're using his first equipment for the death rattle, or which I think it's his third actually, for the death rattle, because you want your Reno to die. You're using him as like a taunt wall. He absorbs the damage, he dies, he has a good effect. But recently I've been seeing him in the arcane bench, and they're actually running the equipment that makes his skill 2 do 10 more damage, so from 7 to 17. It has, I think, 2 more cooldown, but it's an AoE. So it's arcane too. So if you get that out with Long Jin, it's 2 speed, just blow things up with arcane, and it's actually pretty cool. And so that's kind of a neat use, fringe use for that equipment, where Reno makes more sense on the bench in that comp than he does as a lead, because he doesn't really support your strategy in that comp being a lead. But for like the big builds, he makes way more sense as a lead. So I think he's kind of a great example of the bar to aim for of each of these equipments kind of supports a different build rather than there just being one generically good equipment. I think Ashara is kind of like that, where her healing one off of Shadow is so good, you're really hard pressed to use one of the other ones. And I remember back when we did our kind of first look at the new characters, we were like, oh, all these equipments are so good. And they kind of are. Like the idea of making a big Ashara by having full Nagas is cool. And the other one does see a little bit of fringe play in like a Naga build where when she dies, she steals 6 HP and resurrects, because we had a
Yeah,
little
those
bit
are
of
good.
history there with like Karen, seeing that was
Yeah.
good for him. So they're cool abilities. It's just the other one is so strong and has so much good synergy that it's hard. You're really hard pressed to pick something else over it, and that's with a character with 2 other abilities that look good on paper, not
The
like
equipment.
Cornelius, where it's like it's a tiny
Yeah.
bit more healing, or just something as huge as damage reduction. Damage reduction's crazy. Like it.
Spread it around.
Mhm.
There are 2 equipment that are better than every equipment for some of the original mercs, and they're not even seeing play. Like if you just put either of her other equipment on any of the other starting mercs and change like a line of text to update it to their tribe, it would probably be an auto include equipment and the character would be seeing tons of play. Both the reincarnation and the just like check for a tribe. Like imagine if a Murloc. Imagine if Mutinous had the get stats for every living Murloc and it dwindled. Like that's
That'd
such
be
a
sick.
Murloc-y type of equipment. And all of a sudden, like that alone would give you enough of an incentive to try to do a lot of Murloc stuff. But like, so I just want to see an evening out, I think, of the power level of the equipment, which is the great way to bring up some of the old mercs, I think is definitely something that I'm gonna start crossing my fingers for this wave of buffs. Like
Yep.
they really didn't touch much of the equipment. It was a lot of abilities. So imagine if this wave
True.
is now like an equipment retweaking. It totally could be.
Yeah, I like that. I like those
Yeah,
ideas.
because they have changed a little bit of equipment, I think, before. Like we got the Tronde one. I think that would basically make it repeat, right?
It's not
oh,
an
wait, no, that was
equipment.
just
That's
natural.
just
Never
on
mind.
skill. Yeah.
Yeah. I think there was a couple of equipments that did get swapped though. I think it was like 2 ago with the Varden changes. I remember I think
Yeah,
there
they
was a
did
couple of
change
equipment back
Varden's
then.
equipment, but that was actually funnily that was a buff to an equipment to kind of make up for the nerf, so to speak, which is interesting. So it shows they're willing to do that, but will they do that? We'll have to kind of wait and see. Do you want to talk like just very briefly about like meta stuff, and I guess before that, just a little bit about when people can expect new content and stuff? Basically, to give like just a little brief overview of when we can expect some new content for Mercenaries. We talked about balance changes, probably mostly buffs. I mean, nerfs are technically possible, but I would not hold your breath on that one until we get like the extra coins exchange and stuff. Maybe we see a little bit more then, but not expecting a whole lot before then. I think they'd rather do buffs than nerfs, but expect some buffs. That's probably going to be in the 0.0 patch. And looking at kind of the history of patches, the expansion launches on August 2nd, so a week before that, July 26th, will probably be when we get the patch, so you can expect some updates there. Hopefully nothing of Trigor level, but we'll have to wait and see. So that's probably the most immediate new thing coming to mercs that'll change stuff. Also, on top of that, worth mentioning, Bran, I think, is going to be fixed in that update. I think Bran's actually going to be very, very strong. So, and that also could reinvigorate some stuff with Explorers, because I did get some information that they are changing the Explorer stuff a bit. So now it's going to be keyworded, like Explorers are going to be like a keyword kind of. I don't know. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know this for certain, but I do think if they're going that direction, it wouldn't surprise me if they change some of the wording on Reno and Elise to say instead of specifying those two characters, if it says you're explorers or something like that, because that leaves them room for Finley, who we thought was going to be an event merc. Now I'm a little bit more convinced he's going to just be one of the new mercs in the next big drop we get. But I do think he's coming eventually, and I think that is kind of future-proofing, so it makes the Explorers a little bit more viable and a little bit less where you have to have these two specific Explorers rather than just like 2 out of the 4, right? So that's kind of a good thing. I don't know if that's coming in the 0.0 or not, but that is something that is coming. They are going to be rewording some stuff with that, so it'll be interesting to see how that kind of shakes out. But yeah, so July 26th, when we can probably expect that, and then we will be getting a new mercenary on the, and also worth knowing, that's not a tribe. They're not making on
the bottom line.
Yeah, it's, you know what it's like? It's like Alliance and Horde, where those are things on the character, and it will have a little tooltip or something, I believe, to let you know what an explorer is, but it's not going to change. Elise is still going to be a night elf. Finley, when he happens, is still going to be a murloc. Reno's still a human, and so on. Bran is still a dwarf. Dwarf support when copium. But in terms of next merc, probably going to be the release of the expansion. We're going to get a free merc on the rewards track. My bet's on Murloc Holmes. I think that'd be a fun one, and it would line up with what Charles said a long time ago, that we're going to be getting a red Murloc. I could definitely see Murloc Holmes being the red Murloc. And if it sticks to tradition of Finley's constructed card being, or not Finley, Cookie's constructed card being awful, and then him being an all-star in Mercenaries, maybe we'll get a good Murloc there, because Murloc Holmes, though it looks really fun, does not look like a good card from what I've seen. So that is when we can expect like the next like actual character coming into the game, so August 2nd most likely, and then later on in the month we will get the 0.2 patch most likely, usually within less than a month time of the expansion releasing. That should give us some more balance updates, as well as another new merc in an event, probably going to be Cthulhu, to round out the 100th mercenary. So those are like the short term, and then a little bit longer term for the 0.4 patch. It's probably going to be more like late September, early October is it depends if they try and keep it fast like they did for getting out the last 0.4 patch, it could be late September, but they did even talk about how they kind of tried to speed that one along a little bit faster. So it wouldn't surprise me if this one is a little bit more on normal timetables, which would mean more like early or mid-October, I think, at the latest.
Yeah, that's probably what I'm thinking too. Probably like early October, I'm thinking.
And that's the big drop.
Also,
Yeah, the year,
yeah, for the
the year
0.4.
anniversary too, basically.
True.
Right? So
Yep. Yeah, that would be cool. Hopefully, might be like a big drop showing that, maybe like a couple other features.
Maybe they
But
do
we'll
the
have to
coins
see.
then for the anniversary, right?
Yeah,
Because we know that's
totally.
coming
Yeah.
this year, and so it's not going to be tied in with the PvE endgame, even though that will have a thing for excess coins. The thing they specifically mentioned, it sounds like that could be something they do for the 1 year anniversary to also kind of bring people back with the new drop and stuff like that.
Which that would be really cool to have that then. So, and especially
Definitely.
in time for the new drop, then it would help to max all those new mercs. So that would be a lot better for that. Also, real quick, I did look back at the 0.0 patch, the last one,
Mhm.
just to see like the changes. There was actually 22 equipment changes
Wow.
on that point
in that
0
patch,
patch.
what
Yeah.
the heck?
So just that one. It was actually more equipment changes than ability changes.
Wow, I
So
didn't even
that
realize.
yeah, because I was like, I knew it was one of them. I couldn't remember if it was the 0.2 or the 0.0. So yeah, the 0.0 actually looks like it's mainly it had a lot of rework abilities and a lot of equipment changes. That was the main thing, not just like tune-ups on numbers and stuff. The 0.2 patch was mainly tune-ups. So
Mhm.
that was damage increase, stats increase, and all that. But the 0.0 was basically equipment rework or
Okay.
tune-ups on that, and then a complete rework on abilities. So that was the main thing. So if they kind of stay in track with that, that actually means then on this 0.0, we should get a lot of equipment changes then if they stay like that, and maybe more rework abilities. Because they had 2 rework abilities in 0.0, and then they had 1 in the 0.2 for
Interesting.
Blink Fox.
Well, that's good to know. Hopefully, we'll see more stuff like that in this next balance patch. Looking very much forward to it. I guess just one more little brief thing before we do our special thing we have planned for this. Just like a brief commentary on how liking the meta and stuff. I've still been having a lot of fun with the game. I did a meta. Finally brought back the Meta Monday series. A lot of people were pretty happy with that, and I went for a little bit of a different approach this time. Actually looked at win rates in the first half of it, going through the HS replay stuff, and then the second half, I put it all into the pie chart to take a look at like meta representation. One thing I thought was pretty funny is that Frost was actually tied for the most represented comp, and its win rate was really not good because it was the not good version of Frost, or not the best version of Frost. It's the old version with Sinestra and Karen Diablo, and the reason for that is this is something I did also cover in a video this past week, was bots, people using bots in PvP, and basically with that, the Frost bot is the most common bot. When people are using a bot, they use Frost. And even though the win rate is very subpar due to the unfortunate ladder system that needs to be changed still, it just is effective enough to get them all the way to the top because it plays more than a human can possibly play. So that was kind of weird to see, like the fact that bots made a significant enough of an impact to actually like influence what the data is saying, like the most played comp is. Because I can tell you it's not the best comp by a large margin. If you're running into especially that version of Frost, you can farm them incredibly easily. But they just keep going. So unfortunately we have to wait until they did do, I think, a ban wave long ago. So that's kind of why I did the video, was to bring some attention to the issue, and hopefully they can do something like that again, because it sucks when bots are at the top of the leaderboard. That's just not something you want in your game, and it's a very relatively simple thing to fix, but unfortunately it's not the mercenaries department that is handling that. That's more the MMR department and the matchmaking stuff, and they're their own team of people, and I don't really know what's going on there. So we will have to wait and see and cross our fingers that that gets dealt with eventually, because it's been a long time. But in terms of general metagame stuff, I think the meta is still in an interesting place. There hasn't been one comp that has really rose to the top, dominating everything else. I think there are 4 core pillars of the game right now, and it's you have the big comps with like big humans and big pirates, and there's some other variants. Like I tried the holy as well, and that was okay. But mainly like big humans, big pirates as like the big comps that seek to kind of get the big bench and then close it out with that. And then we have the shadow comps. Mostly the most popular version is the Yasharaj build of Shadow, but now we're also seeing some alternate ones, like we're seeing some old god stuff, we're seeing some summon stuff with a little bit of Shadow in there. And then there are the Trigor Valera comps, so usually they have both. Sometimes you'll see just one, but I think a lot of the times it's like both. Most popular, the Trigor Valera Nefarian one with like the Arcane bench. That's probably the most popular build, but there have been other ones popping out, like the Maestro build with Grom and stuff. But that's kind of like another kind of pillar of the game here. And then there's one more. I always forget which. There's always one I forget. It's like it's big, it's Shadow, it's
Dragons?
I don't think dragons are prominent enough to say they're like one of the top tier comps because they really only have like one deck right now, which is fine. Like it's a very playable deck and the stats on it are all right. But I don't think I'd call them like a core pillar of the meta. I'm forgetting it. I might even have to go like look at the HS replay stats as a little reminder really quick because they're just it. At least this is how it's felt to me looking at the stats and playing the game.
Does anybody put Trigor? Like, do people
Frost.
do Trigor, Valera?
How could I forget Frost?
Well, we said that at the top. We said I think you said that. We covered Frost.
Well,
But
yeah.
I was gonna say, speaking of Frost hybrid stuff, does anybody try to do Belinda, Valera, Trigor?
Yes, it's bad. It's quite bad.
Really? Man, bummer.
It's yeah. There used to be stats on that, and that was the only version of like Belinda Valera that was under 50% win rate that I saw. Like it's just not it just doesn't work out. It gets way too easily countered by Shadow. And I guess other stuff because
Smoke Shadow?
Like
really?
You would think it would be
it does
good.
a lot of like degenerate things on turn 1.
Yeah.
Like,
it does.
Oh,
you
Sarge could kill it before is the thing because you have to get both. Oh no, you don't have to get both 3 speeds.
It's still a flip.
But it would. Yeah, it'd be a flip of 50-50 with 2 3s.
It must have other bad matchups though, because it was not performing well when it showed up. Like most of the comps, when they're showing up in these top rates, it's 50% win rate is like very low for it. But that one had like in the 40s, like mid to low 40s. So it just, and I've played against it a bunch, and it can be annoying and stuff, but it's not as powerful as like you would think it would be given like the powerful things those characters do and do together. Yeah. Like it's just kind of strange. It kind of surprised me too, but it didn't seem to be the way to go. I think Belinda's been a lot more powerful off of the bench with the Frost comps and whatnot. She's kind of the one you keep in the back, which is funny because we used to see Belinda in the front all the time. But now there really isn't a comp. And I think that speaks to the fact that it's just really hard to do greens. All right, actually, it is on. There is a version on HS Replay right now. It's a little bit better than it used to be, but Belinda, Trigor, Valera with the Frost bench, just under 50% win rate, 49.8. So like it's like
Jaina, whatever.
Yeah, local Jaina Varden bench.
Yeah, you could probably. I mean, there's nothing that says that deck has to be a Frost deck. Like, I would just yeet that bench and make it a good bench, and then see if that deck gets better. So, if anyone's interested in trying a deck,
yeah, it could be worth experimenting with for sure. Like, maybe the best version hasn't been found yet and whatnot.
I wonder if maybe the Bane Tyrande might be better for a backline.
Yeah, Bane Tyrande, and I mean, you could literally do 3 of whatever you want. Essentially, like it could be Sinestra. I guess if they're green, what color are we missing? Like blue.
Yeah, blue. Because that would only be one blue.
No
like
blues.
Rogers is always just a good blue to stick in if they go fast.
Yeah, Rogers actually be pretty juicy.
Or big hitter. And actually,
I guess
that could
not
be
the stats anymore.
Yeah, you could do something like that. That's definitely possible.
Well, yeah, it could be good speed up though too for Bane, if you wanted to get just
true.
If you didn't need the combo, because I guess that'd be 2, so you wouldn't get the double on it. But
yeah,
still could get a big just 10 speed deal, well, 2 speed then deal 25 to everything if they're like all low or something.
I think
I
the
like that.
the biggest or the best version of Frost has definitely been the one with like the Bane combo on the bench with Tyrande Bane, and then you just have the 4 core Frost. You lead with just 2 blues and Localar, and then Belinda off the bench has been pretty good there. I think that is like kind of the best version of Frost right now going around. Maybe there's some other version that hasn't been discovered yet, but I think from what I've played and played against, that seems to be pretty good. But yeah, any last thoughts on the meta stuff before we transition to our kind of fun thing for today to wrap things up?
Yeah, I think that's it.
All right, cool.
Nice to be deck.
So, what are we doing for today? We're doing something different, chat. It's gonna be. Figured we'd try something a little bit different doing it live. So I'll post a link to this in the chat here, and it'll also be in the description for anyone viewing this not live. But I did a tier list a little while ago. It's only missing Yogg, but Yogg is higher tier, so it's not going to be relevant for what we're doing today anyway. But given we were talking about lower tiered mercenaries and all that kind of stuff, I thought what would be kind of fun is if we did a little drafting here and then played best 2 out of 3 with teams only using mercenaries from D tier, bottom of the barrel, lowest tier mercenaries. And let me see if I can get this up on screen for everybody real quick. I guess I can just drag it, save it, tier list, and we can just drag it into OBS here. That is large.
Yeah, D tier is what we got populated with a lot of demons, a lot of murlocs, some beasts, holy. I mean, literally, when you look at this tier list, it is all of the tribes that were part of the launch. Like so many of the core pieces of launch mercs are down in D tier. If again, obviously, like zombies made this tier list and stuff, and so there's like, it's a. I don't think I'm looking at it. There's nothing much really to argue with, but it's pretty. It stands out pretty aggressively that, like, look at every new merc. Like, what's the lowest tier new merc?
I think
single new merc is in D
Zwen,
tier.
Rathian. There aren't many though. It's like literally just Zwen, Rathian, and Vanessa. I think are the only non-launch mercs in D tier, and some of these have been not D tier earlier on. Like for instance,
Tavish,
Voon was good at a point, Tavish was good at a point, Zyrella was good in like the beginning. Uther has a fringe use in the monkey comp, so it's like there's a little bit, but they're not like the strong thing that their comp is trying to do. They're just like a little bit of an addition and very, very fringe. So I figured we would just basically pick a team from these, and we're going to do it like back and forth. So I think me and WizardBeast are going to be picking some teams, and then we're going to have Mullahoo commentate for us going through these games. So let's just dive right on into it. Let me get Hearthstone open here, and we can pick our teams and throw around with some less than top tier mercenaries. It should be pretty fun.
Yeah. And also, I was thinking if you want to zombies make it a little bit more spicy, I was thinking, do you want to do the winner does a sub to the other?
Sure. Yeah.
On Twitch.
Yeah, gift the sub.
Yep.
At those high stakes.
Yeah, can gift it to someone in chat.
Yeah, that's good. I like it. All right, let me get mercs open here. And in true mercenaries fashion, I think the only acceptable way to decide who gets to pick first is to flip a coin. Yeah. So let me get a coin flip here. Right. I think I can just show that with this. Oop. Put this up. Just gotta edit it a little bit. All right. Do you want to choose WizardBeast? Heads or tails?
As I always say, tails for Sinestra.
Tails for Sinestra. All right. Let's do it. Boom. Oh, there you go. Sinestra's on your side. Looks like we did get a tails flip. So you do get to pick first. And do we want to just pick 6, or do you want to do it like draft where we pick 8 to have to choose from? I'm down for whatever. Probably just 6, I think, just to make it a little bit easier time-wise, because I know we're a little bit limited on time.
Okay. Yeah, 6 is fine.
Okay, cool. So who you liking here?
You know what? I'm gonna go for the good old Draxus.
Draxus.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
What about the statement?
That's pretty spicy.
Zombies counter demons.
Yeah, right. If I should
tier.
just pick demons myself, so you can't pick demons.
Yeah.
Ooh, so many great choices right there.
Well, I know what I would pick here, actually. That's funny.
I think I'm gonna go with Anduin.
Yes, that's what I was gonna pick. We love it.
You know what? I'm gonna keep going down the line. Then I'm gonna go Manaroth.
All right. Ooh, that's a spicy one. All right, it's gotta be his BFF Velen. 2 peas in a pod.
Gul'dan.
Okay, makes sense. See, now I'm looking back at it. I'm like, I really should have put Tyrael in D tier.
Right.
Starts dragging some holy characters down.
Yeah.
Both Uriel and Tyrael are teetering on C tier.
I know, right?
Corn? BD.
He could have deserved it. I think he's better than most of the characters in D tier, though. Well, I think I'm going to go with. I don't want to be like overly blue heavy, so maybe we'll start mixing and matching a bit here. I'm torn though between my fish friends or some beasts. You know, we'll actually go with neither of those right away. We're gonna go with Tavish.
Tavish.
Good old launch Tavish.
No, I'm actually gonna take Zwen then.
Zwen, okay. That's a pretty good one. Forgot he's a beast. Well, I do need a red. That's kind of the funny thing. We're kind of starved for some good reds here. I think there are way more greens and blues in these, which is pretty interesting. Let me check what this character does exactly again, because it's been a while. Ooh, that could be kind of interesting. I want something defensive, so I think I'm gonna pick Garrosh.
Garrosh.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick Garrosh.
You know what? I think I'll go with the other demon then. I'll go Rathian.
Okay, cool.
World's first Rathian seeing play.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I actually have do you mean Rathorian?
Sorry, Rathorian.
Yeah.
Oh, they are both. I thought you were taking Rathian. Yeah.
No, they're both down there. Me too. It's because we never see them. All right, who do I want here? You know, I think I might go with. This could be an interesting way to help round it out. I think I'm gonna go with old Merc. Yeah, we're gonna go old Merc.
I think then for my last pick, you know what? Mullahoo has never failed me before.
Nice.
And this is for my 6.
I dig it, and I'm going to do the one and only. Where is he? That's not. I want to type Murloc. I'm gonna go Mutanus.
Okay.
Okay. So here's my silent commentary that would have gone through it, but I didn't want to bias anybody. As you guys were picking, I'm surprised that neither of you guys broke serve to, like, as soon as you pick demons, you can know that you can like save some of your demons for the later picks potentially and start picking the things that were going to be contested. Like, there's no way if you open Draxus, right, that Zombies is going to take Manoroth from you.
True.
And so you guys could have used potentially earlier picks to diversify, but Cartrace is open. The anti-demon zombies.
Oh, I forgot.
He didn't pick it. He snuck through.
And he didn't say that on turn 1 or 2. I was like,
I know. I'm
feel-
afraid that I was waiting for you to take it away from a wizard just in case that he.
Wow, yeah. You know, I thought about Kurtrus too, but I wasn't even thinking about demons. I was thinking, oh, Kurtrus has some healing, and that could go with the holy stuff. But I forgot Kurtrus is anti-demon entirely, to be honest. Oh yeah, look at that. +4 attack. This merc always deals critical damage to demons. I forgot that was equipment that even existed.
I thought you were about to pick him when you said, then you know, there's not too many reds, and I was like, well, he's looking at Kurtrus then.
Yeah. Oh, that is true. I do. Okay. I think I have a little bit of Garrosh regret. That's okay though.
I think Garrosh is too, but yeah.
He's cool.
Yeah. I mean, Garrosh can get so tanky.
Mini game 1 complete.
All right. Now I just need to figure out how do we wanna lead with something like this. A great question. 1 sec. And then I have to transition our stream thing. Oh, yeah, I think I wanna. Let me just make sure I have the right equipments on.
Oh yeah, I forgot to check equipments.
Yeah, always check the equipments because you might have one on from like PvE you did like a month ago or something.
Yep. Oh, yep, I did. Okay, changing that one.
Exactly. So we want this one, we want this one, and I think we want this one. So I think we'll try it like this. Just start out, and then maybe I'll tweak it if things don't go super well. All right, so let me switch to regular Hearthstone real quick. All right, that's up. And then let me get the deck tracker up. And so I figure what I'll do for this is I'll take off my headset for the game, so I won't be able to hear what's being said. But then if you want to commentate it, Mullahoo, the chat will be able to hear what you're saying. So we can have some good commentary. Where is my deck?
Cool. Yeah, I'll just do the deafen then in the Discord.
Yeah, and then we can type in the Discord if needed. Let me just make sure Discord audio here. Say something really quick.
Beep boop, beep boop.
All right, yep, it's up. All right, cool. So we'll get into the challenge. I'll take off my headset so I can't hear the stuff going on, and good luck. May the best awful team win.
BO1. Yeah, then after game 1, I guess you guys can either just run it back or like toss your headset back on. From there. All right. Let's see if they get into it. So what were the 2 decks in terms of backing it up? The overarching theme here that we're going to be looking at, WizardBeast drafted demons with Tavish and Millhouse for the good old days, and zombies went for humans, holy Murlocs essentially. On paper, right? If you're looking at the tier list, zombies essentially counter the double reds. WizardBeast opened with pick Jaraxxus, pick Manoroth. Zombies instantly countered essentially with Anduin and Velen. I'm certainly giving the benefit to Anduin and Velen in that 1v1. But let's see if we can, or in that 2v2. But let's see if we can spectate. You have to click spectate now. Okay, we're hopping in. You got to imagine this is going to be Anduin versus Jaraxxus on the opener, but you could try to hide the Jaraxxus. Let's see. Nope, they don't. But we're going to be watching for WizardBeast side. Oh, Schwen was the 3rd one. Oh, wait, so we didn't take Tavish. Okay, zombies took Tavish, I think it was. See, the Mutinous has got to be the Anduin. Yep, yeah. No good taunts. Though I suppose the Mutinous is looking a little janky here from zombies. But honestly, even if you're just throwing the Mutinous out here to say, sure, we're just going to have it tank a couple hits, you'll just get blasted down. But honestly, if you're starting to scale from zombie side, if you just get to match Anduin and Velen starting to scale against Gul'dan's not critting anybody. These early turns are certainly going to go zombies favored. Ooh, oh god, the Infernals don't even look that great into the Holy Nova either. 28 health already. Ooh, good. Not bad, not bad. Honestly, we would have liked some damage on Anduin just so that the penance could trigger it potentially, but it happened a little late. But this is the wombo combo turn already, and this is what I'm saying. Like, the double blues are just not threatened. The double blues are just completely untouched. WizardBeast probably needed to predict that and bring out a green to start. But I mean, zombies had countered that with the Mutinous, so that's why I think we're really seeing the Mutinous out of zombies. It was more to counter the opportunity from WizardBeast to hit the expected Anduin opener, but this wombo combo from zombies here is just going to light this board up. Ooh, jeez, that was good damage. But we still get the triggers. We take it down. Wow, that's a lot too. The fell damage is actually pretty legit.
Job's done.
And we're still pretty slow from zombies here, but you have the quick kill. Ooh, and we exactly kill Manaroth at 4 speed here with the Anduin because we have the 3 holy damage on Velen now. That's going to be annoying. Is there any way to get around that, really? Gul'dan doesn't do it. Rithorian doesn't do it. Okay, looking spooky. The anti-heal on Manaroth is really good too, but ended up just anti-healing the Mutinous. I guess it's fine, but you're definitely just getting... I mean, the Rithorian needs to hit... Can you kill the Mutinous before the Rithorian so we can actually get the 32? God, that's a lot too from this Blitzing Legion. This is going to do a lot. We just have to get lucky off of the Rithorian on RNG here. So we get the kill. Blocks the healing, which is good. Blitzing Legion hits correctly. Siphon Life. Okay, we're an Anduin down. But at what cost? At what cost? Schwen's not looking great into a board of, again, all the blues are gone. Triple green from WizardBeast it was, right? And we didn't open with any of them. And now... Got to imagine Zombies is looking at the Protector to come out here, but no, the Tavish value. Gul'dan just a little too spooky. We've got some Tiger Lightning angles on Mutinous in a little bit, but Pounce, a little bit of dyssynergy here with Rithorian, but you can attack with Rithorian first, so that's not too bad. But this Tavish, again, same thing. Now there's just another Merc that WizardBeast doesn't have good crits on. Stands to get passive value over 2 turns, and essentially just 2 for 1 you. This Tavish is just going to do the equivalent of a 2 or a 3 for 1, which is basically what Anduin did, if not better. Velen is still here. Don't love this equipment on Velen with the Death Rattle, but it's going okay. And Mutinous did his job, right? Mutinous just hung out, got some retaliation damage, blocked a Rithorian damage. Which literally has gone taunt, 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 back to back to back. Ooh, the Velen's Blessings to stack it up. Oh no, it lives at 1! What a disaster! But I guess it left on the Death Rattle, or the Death Blow from Rithorian's summon there, so that's kind of funny. But yeah, wow, Mutinous went crazy. Mutinous blocked way too much damage in this matchup so far. And Schwen is large, but Garrosh also doesn't have many good ways of actually dealing direct damage to the Schwen. You kind of have to high roll it. And you really don't want to Makara punch back and forth into the Zhuen either, just because you're going to take so much retaliation damage. Gul'dan looking one-shottable potentially here. Though we don't have a holy trigger. Velen sat on the Velen's Blessing from last turn, right? So just passed. We're going to combo this next one, but I guess the Splitting Light will trigger combo in the second hit, but not the first one. 131 right off the bat. Holy moly. And now it triples. Not bad. That's a lot of... Velen by himself there did 80 damage in that one turn. That's not bad. This is looking like a gapper from zombies here. The Millhouse. Same thing. Sure, now we finally have access to a crit from WizardBeast, but Millhouse not great at solo target DPS here. Looking for that AoE is the best part. Got the YOLO Greater Arcane Missiles. What's the equipment? No equipment on Millhouse? Or does it... Oh, it said lowest health. Okay, so it's the mana powder or whatever. 2 explosive traps. At this point now with no healing, yeah, this is just going to be GG. Whenever Tavish takes damage, the game will just end. So GG's to zombies. Didn't even need the Rithorian here, but that's pretty good. Still gets the death rattle. And that'll be all that she wrote. Sniping Velen would have been nasty. Yeah. Oh, if it just sniped the random hit there. Yeah, that's right. The Schwen just bumped into the Garrosh or something, I think that turn, right? The Merc guy just for value here, but I'll take a Divine Shield. The random 3-speed hit got there, and that's it. Zombies showing the great PvE build. Mutinous, Anduin, Velen, yeah, just the how to farm, what is it, that Fellwood boss or whatever it is, right? The Shadow Fellwood boss. GG's. 1-0 in favor of zombies, and it looked not close. Crit's not great on WizardBeast side, and Anduin, our boy Anduin, went crazy. Absolutely crazy there. One, 2 Mullahs. Worse than Wild. Howdy, Tess. Yeah, Millhouse could have... Were there actually any arcane synergies that we could have drafted here? No, I think Millhouse is the sole arcane merc. WizardBeast maybe going for some old tournament vibes. For the glory, but I mean, honestly, that Millhouse was the OG theory craft document Millhouse of looking at just like when we were originally counting up damage and just seeing like what is the most damage that we can do here. Early Millhouse with the Greater Arcane Missiles was actually like a contender for if you come off the bench and speed doesn't matter, does a lot, especially with the execute, right? And because at that point, if you were just using them for the Greater Arcane Missiles, then you didn't need the other equipment. If you were going to be sticking Millhouse on the bench, you're never casting your Arcane Bolt, you're never casting that the AoE. So we actually kind of got to see it work there. And when you know that the crits got to line up, and it still did 80, I think 80 damage there. It got 1 crit and then two hits for 20. So, I mean, that's not bad. That's some of these OG mercs really showing their stuff. But again, imagine if that equipment was maybe just a little bit better, or maybe the Arcane Bolt equipment got changed to some kind of techie one instead. That you could totally see Millhouse just seeing play easy enough. Off the bench or otherwise. All right, are they back into game 2? Oh no, all right, they started game 2. We just spectated a little bit late. But so now we're here. The opener changed slightly. Zombies went for hiding all of the Holy, did the switch up, and WizardBeast actually swapped some things out, led still with the Jaraxxus and the Manoroth, but put in the Rithorian to try to counteract those double blues. Zombies hit him with the switch up and hid all of his blues. So again, Zombie seems to be, on paper, leading in the mind games, but sacrificing the hardcore turn 2 and turn 4 wombo combo power spikes that Anduin and Velen lead. This might be a little bit of a throw from Zombies here, because now this Mutinous and Garrosh and Merc looks really kind of janky. We're basically just these protectors and fighters all smashing against each other here. But Jaraxxus and Demons have... Whoa! The Jaraxxus just basically completely OTK'd the team there of the double greens, did like 100 damage on that turn 2. But just the summons alone, actually being able to crank out summons without the AoE from Anduin and Velen, the summons are threatening a ton of damage, all these extra demons, and Manoroth just got to Howl of Terror. I don't think I've ever actually seen Howl of Terror cast by Manoroth shrinking attack and having it matter as much as it did there. It put Garrosh down, it put Mutinous down, it put, who was that third one that we had there? Who just died? Merc. Huge value. WizardBeast wildly ahead. Ooh, circumventing the Garrosh taunt with the hulking Overfiend there, attacking the lowest health enemy, doing a little Valera impression. But yeah, look at this. Now there's just... WizardBeast has a summon comp here. 6 demons in play against... We've already Holy Nova'd. It didn't kill anything, and then we just Manoroth pumped everything up. And even Manoroth here is going to be able to survive potentially for a whole other turn and pump up these demons' health again by another, what, 12 or something? This is quickly running away from Zombies here. WizardBeast, full original lineup, still surviving. But I guess our Garrosh is up to 178 health now because there were so many... Oh my god, these Fists of Jaraxxus are going crazy. But Garrosh, the sole survivor, but everybody else is dying. This is the classic problem you saw with Garrosh in Constructed, honestly. In regular ladder, where Garrosh and Gul'dan, similarly, sure, you'd get him out there, you'd have him in the late game, but then if you killed everybody else, it didn't matter how much health Garrosh had really accumulated over time. If you killed everybody else and whittled them down, you could strand Garrosh, and then it would just be kind of an easy game to lock up. That was also especially in a meta when you saw a lot more blues that were surviving to late game. You had Garrosh versus Anduin a lot, and that was just never winnable. So we're seeing some old school vibes here, which is kind of like the Pauper tournament. We saw the old stuff still doing work and still showing that there's life to be had, but... And Jaraxxus is doing work. 3 Infernal Demons here. Bell Command. I don't think I knew what that ability did. Rithorian can just gain stats and shoot something? That's kind of sweet. Huh. I didn't even know this was an equipment. And now the huge Gul'dan comes out here with plus 15 fell damage in play right now. And we are down to zombies just with the soul... Tavish and Garrosh and basically a dead Prophet Villain. Again, same thing, Prophet Villain with this equipment that it heals everybody for 40, but at this point, it doesn't do anything. You can heal them up to... They could go to 300 health each on Tavish and Garrosh here, and it wouldn't matter. The zombies would still be able to run away. Holy... Let's watch this explosion. Getting 211, 30 you, 60 you, 30 you, 60 you. Oh my god. Jaraxxus... Maybe Jaraxxus doesn't even need the buffs. Game 3. Zombies got a little bit too cute. There from Zombies. Needs to go back to opening with the Villain and the Anduin. I mean, I think Zombies basically had it right in game 1 because he had the counter with the Mutinous to taunt, block the projected fighter coming out of WizardBeast. WizardBeast then audibled into that comp in game 2, but Zombies just out-leveled himself, led with a really janky opener, stranded, staggered the Holy from the bench, and it just falls apart. So, game 2. I mean, you see this in tournament all the time. This game happens way too often. This like back and forth mind game of like, okay, Zombies won. Does he use this as an opportunity to kind of jump to the next level? And does jumping to the next level just cut out your entire strategy? You have to remember what archetype you're playing, and Zombies is playing the control deck, counter the demon opener. You know Jaraxxus is leading. You have to hit that with double blues. I wouldn't even mind to see the Millhouse open. Let's get a Millhouse here potentially if you want to continue to swap it up again. Could just be a great way to just stack arcane damage, and then you know that you're going to AoE. Yes! Okay, but oh no, WizardBeast had the dang. Okay, I thought that would have been great foresight if Zombies had the Millhouse, and for some reason even led like triple blue, and went for like, we're gonna counter the summon open that leads into a turn 2, turn 3 summon buildup with the big AoE. But Zombies goes back to his original opener, and WizardBeast actually swaps it up by a lot. WizardBeast opens Gul'dan, Millhouse, and Xuen. Just the full different triple. But basically opting into, again, neither side having good crits on anybody. Xuen being blocked by Mutinous, but we're just gonna be able to do... maybe too much AoE from Zombies here. WizardBeast really has no healing or kind of sustain to speak of. But we've got stacking arcane damage on Millhouse. No other arcane units really make use of it, but Millhouse is not going anywhere for a while. Good damage. The heal from Gul'dan not really doing anything. And yeah, even the Millhouse stacking damage here. I was really wanting that Millhouse. Ooh. Okay, we hit the Tiger Lightning for value, right? But I think the Pounce would have just been better. I suppose, I mean, just Mutinous is back at full. Yeah, the sustain is looking a little spooky here. And the fact, honestly, that Xuen's Tiger Lightning hit the Velen with the Death Rattle heal everybody is actually probably worst case scenario for WizardBeast. But this is their turn to get some combos here. We've got Greater Arcane Missiles coming out. To what avail? Again, no real crits. We've got some stack damage here, but Gul'dan, same thing. What's it really doing? Mutinous, I'm trying to get Mutinous attacking here, I think. Maybe you just have to call the pounce too hard. Actually, you know you're pouncing because Tiger Lightning was just down. Yeah, okay. Good crit. Take down the Schwen finally. Yeah, like what this arcane missile is actually literally just all that it did was 18 damage. It actually did worse than 18 damage there. Maybe that was a turn where you wanted to slow roll for one more turn, or maybe you go for the AoE or something like that on Millhouse, but that was Millhouse's huge cooldown, and it went lowest health target, basically wasted damage, AoE, heal your whole team. So Millhouse looking a little janky here. Still sticking with everybody's reds hiding on the bench. We see Gul'dan and Millhouse at the permanent 0 and 1 attack, but obviously it doesn't matter. No retaliation damage here. And ooh, this is a juicy Merc-Eye. I love this Merc-Eye here. We still have our Mutinous alive, and though it has been shrunk in terms of the attack, Pounce reducing that slightly, I still think we're actually going to be able to kill the Gul'dan here. Ooh, pump it up. I like it. Instantly dies. Zombies maybe not counting up the arcane damage there for the Millhouse AoE. But I mean, stats are okay, but I'm pretty sure we wanted to have just killed the Gul'dan there. Maybe you're okay with just keeping the Gul'dan alive, right? And saying like, well, you're actually not really doing that much damage. The healing is negligible. If you want to do 20 every turn, who cares? I mean, honestly, that's some of my favorite stuff in, again, we saw this a lot many months ago with Mercenaries, but a lot of these metas would have revolved around, like, narrowing down, like, we're going to leave this Merc alive on purpose, right? That's not really a strategy you see anymore. Too many of the Mercenaries are just too powerful. Come on. Ooh, no Demon to trigger the Rithorian extra damage. That's tough. And we get the Devouring hit off of Mutinous. And the exact lethal from Merc-Eye onto the Gul'dan. I mean, these double reds are looking good, right? We now have assembled our backline combo from WizardBeast of having triple demons are back. We've got a low health Anduin now. So, I mean, all things considered, this is looking okay. This is going to be a turn where we get to go again, probably summon a demon from Jiraxxus, pump up their health with Manaroth, and get some good setup for a big crit next turn. Whiffed. Oh, we didn't pop the Divine Shield or hit. Okay. You really wanted that AoE or the random damage from Blitzing Legion to either hit our Anduin or pop the Divine Shield, neither of which happened, which is kind of tough, but I suppose the Invasion just would have reapplied the Divine Shield. Anywho. All right, now Anduin's back to 50. That's kind of a disaster. It's a little spooky because we, again, have this taunt blocking, but a lot of things are going to live here. Ooh, shrink the attack is nice for a second Invasion if you expect it. Come on, AoE. No, still nothing. Ooh, Invasion's still juicy enough to take out the Jiraxxus. And now with Jiraxxus down, there's no good, we never got a Fist of the Legion off, huh? That was really what WizardBeast was trying to queue up for, was to get this, like, 5. I mean, that would have ended the game. Well, no. I mean, Zombies is up 2 whole mercs on the bench, right? So pretend Zombies doesn't have a bench. If we got that Fist of Jiraxxus off, that was WizardBeast's out to kind of just suddenly quickly kill the Merc-Eye. Oh, God. Living at 6. Heals back up to 30. Nope. Zombies. Looking like going back onto the original opener was too difficult for WizardBeast to overcome with the demons here. But I mean, honestly, Jiraxxus looked good. The damage that came out of the good opener from WizardBeast with the Jiraxxus, like those Fisted Legions were powerful. That was good enough. But not good enough to win the set. Zombies takes it 2-1 after mind gaming himself a little bit too hard in game 2. But some Popper energy vibes there. I like that. GG's. I'm glad we swapped it up basically every single time, actually.
All right, we're back. GG's. That was really fun.
Those were sweet. Those were actually some pretty interesting games. There's a lot to talk about, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh. Those Fists of Jiraxxus on that second game,
bro, those are nuts.
I know. I misclicked on the last turn. I didn't mean to summon another guy. I meant to do the fist, but it was gonna be a loss anyways.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. Is like, even if there were no mercs on the bench and that fist gets off, then it's actually like a very close game. Or like, depending on where the hits go, then who knows what.
Yes.
But
Garrosh and Tab.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really great, really fun. GG's. That was it's cool seeing these mercs that you typically don't see at all see play, and the combo stuff with them. Like Mutanus was awesome. He was like he was a wall.
Yeah, no, he was great. That's what I was saying.
Could
Is
do
like
anything, and then I forgot the Velen had the death rattle, so I was like, oh, I could snipe it with Millhouse 9, and then I'm like, oh, dang, it just healed everything to full, and he did like no damage that turn.
Yeah, and I wasn't
literally
even
powered the
sure
entire
on that
missiles.
equipment too. I was like, is that like good? Is it not good? Should I just go for more damage? But that heal in game 3 was really, really helpful.
Yeah. That Mutanus went back to full life. Like,
Yeah, once
3 times.
Mutanus went to full, I was just like, okay, well, the wall has been rebuilt. Like, he is safe. And it was cool comboing him with, Murkow's actually, like, probably my favorite Murloc next to Cookie. He's very fun. I've always liked him in draft, so getting to combo him with Mutanus was pretty cool. That was, he's just a good Merc. He's just a good Merc.
Yep, and here's your prize.
Hey, and the sub to best test.
It goes to Tess.
Yeah,
that's great. Congrats, Tess. You now have access to some of the best SpongeBob themed emotes on Twitch.tv. And some other ones too, like the Pogfish. Get a Pogfish in chat here. But yeah, that's our show for today. This was really, really fun. Maybe we'll do something else like this in the future. I thought this was a kind of cool thing to try something different, and it felt fitting for a live episode, right? So hopefully everyone enjoyed that. And yeah, so that's going to pretty much wrap it up for this week's episode. If you enjoyed it, remember to do all the social media stuff, like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. And we will see you in the next episode of The Fighting Pit. Do remember, no episode next week. We're off next week. I'm going on vacation. But we will be back the following week for a bunch of Mercs news stuff. So stay tuned for that. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out. If you're watching this live, I am actually going to continue streaming. I'm just going to take a few minute break here, but the stream will stay up. And then we will do some Mercs gaming and stuff. But yeah, it's going to do it for episode 26. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed it, and we will catch you in the next one. Peace.
Bye.
Everyone, stay safe.